I really thank the good Lord for answering our prayers.
Joe Bruno acquitted in his second trial. We are joined by our legal analyst, Chaz Farcher from Martin Harding Mazzotti. Hey, Chaz.
Good morning, Chuck.
Hey, so Kelly and I were not the least bit surprised that he was acquitted and that it was a quick verdict. What about you?
Yeah, no, I think this is kind of what most of us had expected. You know, we had talked about this this topic a couple of times, and I think that changing the law, really cut the work out for the prosecutors. They had a tough case here from day one, and it got tougher with the change in the law in the Supreme Court.
So what did they fail to prove?
Well, under the old law, before skilling, when they secured 2 out of 8 convictions on 2 of 8 charges, they only had to prove, essentially an appearance of impropriety or the possibility of self-dealing. When the law changed, what they actually had to show now was a real legitimate bribe or a kickback, which is, something much more tangible, much more objective, and I think it's just something that the jurors struggled with. They didn't even charge it the first time because it would have been more difficult. And I think the second time around, the fact that the jury was only out 4 hours tells you that they really struggled finding that.
In these days, there's been all sorts of stings, like down in New York City and elsewhere. I mean, do you think that most juries would demand now some sort of smoking gun, whether it be audio, video, or something, email, something tangible?
Well, that certainly would have helped, but I'll tell you what would have helped either way. Either would also be some testimony from the person that was supposedly doing the bribing. Abrazizi's testimony in this case here. He himself testified that he never intended to bribe Joe Bruno and that it was for consulting services. So they didn't have video, they didn't have recordings. They also didn't have, a key witness either. So I think they were kind of missing it in all regards.
So now that we're looking at an acquittal here, and there is now the possibility to recover legal fees, millions of dollars in legal fees that were paid by the defense or to the defense.
Yeah, it's always a possibility. I don't see it. I guess it could happen. We'll see. I think, to be honest with you, Joe Bruno is 85 years old. This case has been ongoing since 2008, if not earlier, if you include the investigation. My guess is at this point he'll try and just put it behind him. But, we'll wait and see what happens, I suppose.
Speaking with our legal analyst, Chaz Farcher, on 810 and 1031 WGY, do you think, I've heard a lot of people criticize the prosecution around here for even going after him a second time. Do you think it was overreach? Well,
I think if the prosecution doesn't go after him a second time, then they get criticized for not doing enough in regard to corruption charges. But, I think the problem is that they went after him the first time and they had 2 counts where they secured conviction. So they had 2 convictions, and then the law changes. So what do? Do you just say, well, forget it because the change in the law? You say, well, now because we have to prove an actual bribe or kickback, which in essence is essentially what they had alleged the first time. There was an easier way to do it. But now the law changes, so what do? They say, forget it, we never really had a case anyway. What message does that send? So I think they were in a tough spot. I think they kind of had to go forward, but, the outcome is, probably what a lot of us expected.
All right, Chaz, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Have a great day, Chuck. Have a great day, Kelly.
Thanks, Chaz. You too.
Chaz Farcher from Martin Harding Mazzotti, 1-800-LAW-1010.